Have you ever hugged someone you love and wondered if they pulled away just a little too soon? It's a quiet fear many of us carry as we get older. Not that we've stopped caring for ourselves, but that somewhere along the way something changed. A shift in our body, our skin, our scent, and no one told us. Because aging doesn't come with a manual. And sometimes it's not about poor hygiene, it's about the small habits we overlook. The quiet ones. The ones that make us feel just a little less fresh and a little more self-conscious. I know because I've been there too, until a kind doctor pointed out a few things that truly changed how I take care of myself. So if you've ever wondered, is it me? You're not alone. And this video might just give you the clarity, comfort, and simple fixes you've been looking for. We're going to walk through 6 subtle hygiene mistakes many women over 60 make without realizing it. And the good news, each one is easy to fix and can make a world of difference. If you're curious to learn more, just comment the number 1 below so we know you're with us. And if you enjoy honest, uplifting health tips for aging with confidence, don't forget to subscribe to Savvy Senior. And stay with me until the very end, because I'll be sharing one overlooked habit that could quietly transform how you feel in your own skin every single day. Let's begin. Part 1, the bra you love might be holding on to more than just comfort. Let me ask you something and be honest with yourself. How many times have you worn your favorite bra before tossing it in the laundry? 2 times? 4, maybe a whole week. You're not alone. I used to do the same thing, especially with that one cotton bra I absolutely adored. It fit like a dream. Soft, worn, and just right, gave me the lift I needed without digging into my shoulders. So I wore it, often, probably more than I should have, 3, sometimes 4 times a week. I told myself, well, I didn't really sweat. It's still fine. But one afternoon, something happened that made me pause. I bent down to hug my little niece, Emma, sweet girl, 6 years old, and as she wrapped her arms around me, she gave this tiny little scrunch of her nose. She didn't say anything, bless her heart, but the look on her face said more than words ever could. That moment stuck with me. Later that evening, I picked up that beloved bra, and I really smelled it, and I realized something I had never truly considered before. See, even if you don't sweat much, your body is still doing its job. Your skin sheds cells, releases natural oils, and yes, especially as we get older, our skin tends to hold on to scent longer. And bras, well, they sit right against some of the warmest, most active areas of our body, under the arms, under the bust, close to the heart, which means even if it doesn't feel dirty, it's picking up more than you realize. Here's what a dermatologist once told me, and it changed the way I care for my undergarments. As we age, our skin becomes thinner and more delicate. That makes it more absorbent, not just of lotion or fragrance, but of bacteria and odor as well. So that beloved bra, it wasn't just hugging me, it was holding on to days of body oil, skin cells, and yes, subtle odor, even if I couldn't smell it myself. But here's the good news. Fixing this doesn't mean you need to wash bras every single day. In fact, it's simpler than that. Try to wash your bra every 2 to 3 wears. Rotate your bras, never wear the same one 2 days in a row. The elastic needs time to rest, and your skin deserves a clean start. When possible, choose breathable fabrics like cotton. Synthetic materials tend to trap odor more even after a wash. If you're worried about doing more laundry, keep an extra set of your favorites in rotation. It takes the pressure off and makes laundry day a little easier on your schedule. I know it might feel like a small thing, but I can tell you this, since I made that change, I feel fresher, more comfortable, and yes, more confident. No more second-guessing hugs. No more wondering if anyone else notices something I can't smell. Just me, clean, calm, and cared for. If this tip made you think of your favorite well-loved bra, drop a 1 in the comments below. I'd love to know I'm not alone in this. And remember, every small act of self-care, even something as simple as a freshly laundered bra, adds up to a bigger sense of dignity, grace, and confidence. Now let's move on to the next habit, and trust me, you've probably never thought about this one either. Part 2. Why your underarms might still smell, even after you shower. I used to think I was doing everything right. Showering every day, using a good deodorant, washing with antibacterial soap. So when I started noticing a faint sour smell that seemed to stick around, especially in the summer, I was confused and a little embarrassed. Is this just part of getting older, I wondered. Maybe it was hormones, maybe it was just me. Eventually, I brought it up to my dermatologist, half expecting her to shrug it off. But instead, she nodded gently and said, "You're probably dealing with buildup under the arms." Buildup, I asked. She explained it so clearly I never forgot it. As we age, we often gravitate toward long-lasting deodorants. You know the ones 48-hour protection, solid formulas, strong scents. They do their job, but over time they don't fully wash away in a regular shower. Instead, they leave behind a thin, waxy film that clings to the skin. And when that film mixes with sweat, dead skin cells, and natural oils, it creates a sticky environment where bacteria thrive. The result? A persistent underarm odor even if you bathe regularly. And here's the part no one told me. We often forget to treat our underarms like the rest of our skin. We exfoliate our faces, maybe our elbows, our legs, but the underarms, they get soap and water, and that's about it. But those warm, tucked away areas deserve a little more attention because they can hold on to layers of product dead skin and trapped bacteria for weeks if we're not careful. After that appointment, I started using a soft washcloth in a gentle circular motion under each arm 2 to 3 times a week. Nothing rough, nothing harsh, just warm water, a mild soap, and a few slow circles. The first time I did it, I was stunned. The cloth turned a little gray. That wasn't dirt from outside, that was buildup from the inside. Within just a few days, I noticed a difference. My underarms felt fresher, cleaner, and my deodorant worked better because it wasn't sitting on top of old layers anymore. I didn't buy any fancy scrubs or expensive skincare products, just a few simple adjustments to my shower routine, and I never looked back. Here's what I learned. Use a soft exfoliating cloth like microfiber or baby washcloths. Gently scrub under your arms in the shower 2 or 3 times a week. Rinse well, don't let soap or residue sit on your skin. That leftover film can cause odor later in the day. If you have sensitive skin, just use warm water or a mild, unscented cleanser. And most importantly, be consistent. Like all good things in life, it's the gentle, repeated effort that pays off. Since I started this little habit, I feel more confident when I lift my arms, wave to neighbors, or reach for something at the store. No more worrying if someone might catch a whiff of something I missed. And if this sounds familiar to you, if you've ever wondered why your deodorant isn't working like it used to, maybe it's time to give your underarms a fresh start. If you've tried this or plan to drop a 1 in the comments so we know you're with us. And don't forget to subscribe to Savvy Senior for more gentle, honest tips that make aging feel a little more graceful and a lot more empowered. Now let's talk about something most of us truly overlook. The surprising odor trap sitting right at our feet. Part 3, when the smell isn't you, it's your shoes. A few years ago, I started noticing something strange in my home. There was this faint, musty odor that seemed to hang in the air near the front door. At first, I blamed the usual suspects, my sweet old beagle Max, who loved rolling in the grass, or maybe one of the grandkids tracking in mud after a backyard adventure. But the smell didn't go away. No matter how often I vacuumed, lit candles, or opened windows, and then one day I caught a stronger whiff as I bent down to tie my sandals. And that's when it hit me. It was my shoes, not the soles, not even the outside. It was the inside of those comfortable old sandals, the ones I wore nearly every day everywhere. Around the house, out in the garden, on quick errands. They were like old friends, soft, broken in, supportive. But they had slowly become a mobile odor trap, and I had no idea. You see, as we age, our feet can go through changes we don't always talk about. Some of us sweat more, especially around the feet. Others take medications for blood pressure, heart health, or diabetes that can alter how our sweat smells. And because our sense of smell can dull slightly with age, we may not notice the shift. But others might. And shoes, especially those made of thick fabric or leather, absorb and trap odor over time. If you wear the same pair daily without airing them out, you're giving bacteria the perfect warm, dark, damp environment to settle in. And unfortunately, just like your favorite sweater, your nose becomes used to that smell, even if it's strong. So what can you do? The good news is you don't need to throw out your favorite shoes. You just need to give them a little love and a breath of fresh air. Here's what worked for me, and it might just work for you too. Air them out once a week. On a sunny day, place your shoes outside where they can get some light and airflow. The sun helps kill bacteria naturally and dries out lingering moisture. Sprinkle baking soda inside overnight. It's an old trick, but a powerful one. Just a light dusting will absorb moisture and neutralize odor. Tap it out in the morning and you're good to go. Use dry black tea bags. Place 1 or 2 unused black tea bags inside each shoe overnight. They absorb odor naturally and are far cheaper than fancy sprays. Wash removable insoles. Many orthopedic shoes and sneakers have removable inserts. Pop them out and give them a soak in warm, soapy water. Let them dry completely before putting them back in. Rotate your shoes. Try not to wear the same pair 2 days in a row. This gives them time to breathe and recover. Even just alternating between 2 pairs can make a big difference. Always wear clean socks or footies. Even if you're wearing slip-ons, that tiny fabric layer helps absorb sweat before it soaks into your shoe. Since making these small changes, that mystery smell by my door is gone. And more importantly, I feel more confident when I take off my shoes at someone's home or sit down to rest after a walk. If you've ever had a mystery odor moment like that, comment 1 below. You're definitely not alone. And remember, sometimes staying fresh starts from the ground up. Now let's talk about something many of us have relied on for decades. But if used the wrong way, it might be doing more harm than good. Part 4, when too much perfume is too much and what to do instead. There's a difference between a signature scent and a perfume cloud. For years, my signature was Chanel No. 5. A classic, elegant, the kind of fragrance that made me feel more like me, especially after retirement, when the rest of my world started to feel a little more quiet. I kept the bottle on my vanity right next to my pearls. 1 little spritz on the neck, maybe 1 on the wrists. But somewhere along the way, 1 spritz became 2, then 3, then a just-in-case spritz before heading out. One afternoon, I ran into my neighbor Carol. She's a kind woman, gentle, soft-spoken. We hugged like we always do. But that day, she pulled back with slightly watery eyes and said, "You smell strong today, Margaret." She didn't say it to be rude. It was more like a kindness, a soft nudge. And it made me stop and think, because the truth is I couldn't smell it. I had worn that fragrance for so long, my nose had gotten used to it. And what I thought was a light floral note might have become something very different to those around me. What I didn't realize is that as we age, our skin changes, and so does the way it interacts with fragrance. What once smelled light and fresh in our 40s can smell heavier, even sour in our 70s. Hormones shift, medications affect body chemistry. And if that perfume lands on skin that hasn't been properly cleaned, or worse, is mixing with sweat or lingering odor, the result is, well, let's just say it's not the garden of roses we thought it was. Instead of masking scent, what we've really done is layer perfume on top of odor, like putting air freshener in a room that hasn't been cleaned. The result isn't fresh, it's confusing, muddled, and sometimes overwhelming. And because our sense of smell dulls slightly with age, we may not notice the change, but others do. That's why your grandkids squirm a little when they hug too close, or why someone gives a polite smile but doesn't linger. Here's what helped me reclaim my freshness without giving up fragrance entirely. Treat scent as a flourish, not a fix. Perfume should be the finishing touch, not the first line of defense. Switch to a gentle, alcohol-free body mist for everyday wear. These are lighter on aging skin, less likely to clash with your natural scent, and won't dry you out like traditional perfumes can. Carry a small pack of unscented wipes in your purse. On warm days or long outings, I'll step into the restroom and lightly freshen up underarms, neck, hands. It makes all the difference. Hydrate and cleanse before applying scent. Fragrance sits better and smells better on clean, moisturized skin. Think of it like painting on a clean canvas. And finally, use less than you think. If you can still smell it an hour after applying it, chances are it's too much. Since making these changes, I felt more confident and closer to the people I love literally and emotionally. No more pulling away, no more polite nods, just warm hugs and kind smiles. If you've ever felt unsure about your scent or had a similar wake-up moment like mine, drop a 1 in the comments. Let's remind each other we're not alone. And remember, aging is about grace. And grace doesn't come from covering up. It comes from caring gently for yourself, just as you are. Now let's move on to something many of us overlook but use every single day. Your hair tools might be doing more harm than good if you're not cleaning them regularly. Part 5, you wash your hair. But what about your brush? We take such care with our hair. The shampoos, the conditioners, a gentle pat dry with a towel, maybe even a little setting spray or leave-in cream. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you washed your brush? Or that little velvet scrunchie you keep in your purse? The headband you use when gardening? The clip that lives on your bathroom counter? If you had to stop and think, you're not alone. For years, I believed that if I washed my hair regularly, that was enough. I never gave much thought to the tools I used afterward, until one summer when my scalp started itching a bit more than usual. My pillowcase had this faint, stale smell. Nothing awful, just something off. I blamed the heat, maybe age, maybe a new shampoo. Then one day I reached for my favorite scrunchie, a deep burgundy velvet one I'd picked up at a market in Florence, Italy years ago. Soft, beautiful, and sentimental. I used it every day, tying up my hair for walks, naps, errands. It went everywhere with me. I lifted it to my face to adjust it and instinctively took a little sniff. And friends, I nearly dropped it. It smelled like old perfume hairspray and yes, sweat. All those lovely memories, now tinged with a very unpleasant reality. That little scrunchie had been rubbing against my scalp for months without a single wash, and it had soaked up everything. I started doing some research, and here's what I learned. Hair accessories from brushes to clips to elastic ties accumulate oil, sweat, product residue, and even bacteria over time. Every time we use a little dry shampoo, every time we touch our scalp, every time we sweat just a little under a sun hat or scarf, those tools are picking it all up. And when we reuse them without washing, we're reintroducing that buildup right back onto clean hair and skin. So what's the fix? It's easier than you think, and it's made a world of difference for me. Brushes, once a week I take a comb or pen to gently pull out trapped hair. Then I soak the brush in warm water with a little shampoo and baking soda for about 30 minutes. Scrub lightly with an old toothbrush rinse and air dry completely. Scrunchies, headbands, and fabric clips, I keep a small mesh laundry bag in my closet just for them. Once a week I toss in whatever I've used, scrunchies, soft headbands, even sleep masks, and wash them on a gentle cycle with my delicates. Let them air dry, and they're good as new. Keep extras on hand. I now rotate through a few favorites, so I don't wear the same one every day. I even have a little pouch just for clean accessories, so I always know which ones are fresh. And here's what changed: no more itchy scalp, no more mystery smells on my pillow. And my hair, it stays cleaner longer. It's amazing how one small overlooked habit can affect how we feel and how others perceive us. If this part made you think of your favorite scrunchie or that old brush sitting on the counter, drop a 1 in the comments below. I promise you're in good company, because taking care of ourselves doesn't stop at the obvious. Sometimes it's in the tiny details. And when we care for those, everything else starts to feel a little more refreshed. Next, let's head to the place where we spend a third of our lives and often forget to clean the bed. Part 6, what's lurking in your bed? Even if you sleep alone, even clean skin sheds at night. That's something I didn't fully understand until much later in life. You see, I had this old flannel nightgown. Soft as butter, a little faded but full of memories. I bought it on sale about a decade ago, wore it through snowstorms, sick days, even while sipping tea and watching late-night TV. It was like a second skin. And since I live alone now, I didn't give it much thought. I mean, who was going to notice I wasn't dirty when I went to bed? I didn't sweat much. It felt cozy, comforting, harmless. But one weekend, my oldest friend from college, Diane, came to visit and stayed the night. She slept in my guest room, but the next morning over breakfast, she smiled kindly and said, "Do you ever wash your pillowcases more than once a month?" She wasn't being rude. She was being real, and I appreciated it. That little comment stayed with me. Later that day, I did something I hadn't done in far too long. I smelled my pillow, and then I smelled my nightgown. And friends, it wasn't pretty. Here's what I learned, and it made a whole lot of sense. Even when we're resting, our bodies are still at work. Our skin releases oil, sweat, and sheds dead cells while we sleep. Some of us drool a little. Yes, it's true, toss and turn or pull the covers tight, especially on warm nights. All of that moisture and heat creates a perfect little environment for bacteria to thrive. And when we sleep in the same pajamas, on the same sheets, week after week, we're lying in all that buildup night after night. And yes, that familiar musty smell that clings to your collar or your pillow. It's not just age. It's a sign that things need a refresh. So I made a few changes. Nothing extreme, just intentional. I started washing my sheets once a week. Every Sunday, I swap them out. It's become part of my rhythm, like watering the plants or checking the mail. I stopped wearing the same pajamas for days on end. Now I rotate through a few sets and wash after every 2 to 3 wears, especially in summer. I added a little baking soda to my mattress routine. Once a month, I sprinkle it over the mattress, let it sit for an hour, then vacuum it up. It's simple and it helps absorb odors and keep things fresh. And pillows twice a year, I wash them, not just the cases, but the actual pillows. Because let's face it, they've been through a lot. And you know what happened? I started sleeping better. My skin felt clearer. My bedroom smelled lighter, cleaner, like me. Not the me from 10 years ago, the me who's still learning, still growing, still showing up for herself. So if you've been holding on to that one nightgown you love a little too much, or stretching your sheets a little too far, consider this your gentle nudge. Drop a 1 in the comments if this reminded you of a pajama set you should probably retire, or a pillow that could use a wash. We've all been there. And remember, fresh doesn't have to mean fancy. It just means caring enough to make small changes, because you deserve to feel clean, rested, and radiant. Every night. In just a moment, we'll wrap things up with a quick reflection and a final takeaway that brings all these habits together, so don't go anywhere. Closing, a gentle goodbye and a fresh start. Aging is a gift, a quiet kind of grace that not everyone gets to experience. But staying fresh, feeling clean, confident, and comfortable in your own skin. That's part of the joy. These little hygiene habits we've talked about today, they aren't about impressing anyone else. They're not about being perfect. They're about you, about how you feel when you hug someone you love, how you walk into a room and hold your head high, how you end your day knowing you've cared for yourself in the small, quiet ways that matter. Because when we're younger, we're taught to keep up appearances. But as we age, it becomes less about looking good and more about feeling at peace with who we are. Clean sheets, a freshly washed bra, a brush that isn't weighed down with old oils. These aren't chores. They're little acts of love. And the beautiful thing, you don't need to do them all at once. Start with just one. Maybe today's the day you swap out your pillowcase, or lay your favorite pair of shoes out in the sun. Maybe you toss that scrunchie into the laundry or wipe down your neck after a long day. Whatever it is, let it be simple, let it be kind, let it be enough. Because you, my friend, are still growing, still learning, still worthy of freshness, dignity, and joy at every stage of life. I'd love to know what's one scent that takes you back to your younger days. The smell of your mother's lavender drawer liners, your favorite soap from the 60s, that old cologne someone special used to wear. Comment below. I read every one, and trust me, the memories you share may touch more people than you know. If this video helped you, please take a moment to like it, subscribe to our channel, and check the description for a link to our free Savvy Senior newsletter. It's filled with weekly tips to help you age confidently, comfortably, and joyfully the way you deserve. And thank you truly for spending this time with me. You're not just a viewer, you're part of a community of women who are redefining what it means to grow older with grace. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. And never forget, sometimes the smallest changes make the biggest difference.